Hello everyone. Today we will understand the concept of inflation. There are some types of inflation on different categories, such as on the basis of speed or rates, on the basis of scope, on the basis of government's reaction, on the basis of employment, and some other. Let's take all of them one by one. On the basis of speed or rate, there are few inflation, mainly creeping inflation, walking inflation, running inflation, galloping inflation, and hyperinflation. On the basis of scope, comprehensive inflation and sporadic inflation. On the basis of government's reaction, open inflation and suppressed inflation. On the basis of employment, partial inflation and full inflation, and some other terms like stagflation, skewflation, demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and some others. According to rates, creeping inflation is that inflation in which the rate of increase in prices up to 2%, walking up to 5%, running up to 10%, galloping in double digit rate, the prices increasing. Hyperinflation, it is very much important. Very high rate of inflation, or we can say too much money chasing too few goods. As we can see in this picture also, one hand we have so much of money and other hand very few goods are there. Open inflation. When inflation is measured before any interruption done by the authority in an economy, that is known as open inflation. Suppressed inflation. When inflation is measured after the policy initiatives taken by the government and central bank to control or check the inflationary impact in an economy. Demand pull inflation. It happens when there is a situation wherein aggregate demand becomes greater than aggregate supply, which results into price hikes in the economy. Cost push inflation. It happens when there is an increase in cost of production which leads to rise in price of goods and services produced in an economy. Partial inflation and full inflation. This concept is given by Keynes. He defined inflation as a phenomena of full employment. According to him, inflation is the result of the excess of aggregate demand over available aggregate supply. And true inflation starts only after full employment. The price rise as a result of expansion of money supply is the pre-full employment stage, is called partial inflation. The increase in the money supply before full employment tends to mobilize the idle resources of the economy and thus tends to the expansion of output and employment. There is only a slight rise in the price level under partial inflation. The increase in money supply after the full employment level leads to full inflation. In this case, output and employment will not increase and there will be an uninterrupted rise in price.